Hello and welcome to Crossing Point, where the gospel and life meet. This week I'd like to share another thought with you. This is the third time we've done this, and I want to ask you a question. What do you do when life is just so terribly disrupted as it is right now during this pandemic? When you have to change your pattern of life, when your relationships become just disjointed. That's where we're living now. This global pandemic that's been imposed on us has just really displaced all kinds of routines. Friends are limited in contact with one another, and so are families. We can't even get together like we normally do and hug one another and just be with one another and share our lives in close proximity. We can't do that. This is a time when people will need a new level of faith because the same kinds of routines that we have cherished for so long will not be replaced. They will be changed. So it's not the first time that people of faith have had to trust God in a greater measure because of some dramatic force that's disrupted their lives. In fact, this is a story told many times over in the Bible. One such time was when the people of God suffered the destruction of the core of their nation. When the Assyrian Empire and then later the Babylonian Empire descended on Israel and Judah and scattered their inhabitants just all over and took many into exile. God's people needed to learn how to cope, maybe even how to thrive in that environment. It is possible. In the Old Testament, we have stories of how God's people coped with disruption and exile, and in the New Testament, the story is continued. The Jews were able to return and rebuild Jerusalem and a semblance of what used to be their nation, but then they were conquered and dominated by the Greek Empire and then by the Roman Empire. Plan B became Plan C, and then Plan C became Plan D. Many of us have experienced the same. We thought our lives would progress along a certain trajectory. We had certain plans. But then someone got sick, or someone lost their job, or someone got divorced, or someone died, or a virus swept across the world like a swarm of locusts. This is where we live now. Our minds are reeling with how fast it all happened. We hear different opinions from different authorities. We are left wondering what will actually happen. We live in a moment when we need faith that is deep, not shallow, real, not wishful thinking, informed, not opinionated. Is there something we can learn from the experience of exile in Scripture? First of all, it's lament. Part of dealing with extreme disruptions like we're dealing with during this global pandemic is to honestly admit to ourselves and to God and to others just how it all upsets us. That's the power of lament. All of us have been burdened with this terrible news every day for so long now. It's affecting us all, and we need to admit that. There are reasons for the Psalms of Lament in the Old Testament. To be honest about the hard feelings we go through when life has become disrupted doesn't work against faith. It's integral to faith. God has always called us to be honest to Him, to be forthright with Him, to tell Him where and how we're hurting. We are facing the problems that we're dealing with head on, and we can now dig deeper because we've been honest with Him for that faith that will help us carry on. And then perhaps He will give us some solutions. This is expressed so well in Psalm 137, written from exile. It reads, By the rivers of Babylon we sat and wept when we remembered Zion. There on the poplars we hung our harps, for there our captors asked us for songs. We can engage this scripture with a sense of melancholy. It's a melody, remember, a song. When I first read it, it really got to me. It really touched a chord in my own spirit. Psalm 137 was written by someone among the exiles who had been ripped out of Judah and carried hundreds of miles into Babylonia. This person was thinking about Zion, Jerusalem, before that fateful day in 587 BC when the armies of Nebuchadnezzar breached the walls of the besieged city, destroyed it, and the temple inside of it. It was unthinkable, but it happened. And things would never be the same. A new reality imposed itself, life in exile. The people of God were forced to look at life and God in a new way. We can do this today. Being socially confined and being at home is a far cry from having our home burned to the ground. Living in exile begins with acknowledging a new reality. As the people of God exiled to Babylon realized God is still there, and He's still with us today. And He will use all these dilemmas and all these problems and all these stresses to His best interest, to promote His plan that He's had all along, and to guide His people into being the kind of witness He's called them to be. As the people of God exiled to Babylon realized, God is still there. He is here, and nothing is going to change that. God bless you all.